So this is my crystal ball circuit that I made out of the Arduino. And we're going to do a deep dive on this, and we're going to look at the code, and we're going to look at the circuit, and we're going to see how it all works, and then we're going to try it out too. So we're going to start with our 5-volt and our ground. This is our black and red wire. So the ground wire is kind of a place to store all your energy, and this will connect to the negative on your breadboard. The red wire is your 5 volts wire, and that will store power, and that goes into your positive on the breadboard. So now we're going to talk about some of the components on here besides the wires. This little black box over here, this is a tilt switch. So it will turn the circuit on or off based on the tilt of the circuit. This right here, this knob, this white knob that you can spin, this is a potentiometer. It controls the contrast on the LCD screen, which is what we're using to display words. So it'll show contrast. So this is like how bright the white is. It's kind of like your lightness, darkness. And the LCD, of course, this is kind of like its own mini screen. It's 16 by 2. So that means you can only fit 16 characters on one row. And now we're going to look at the wires. So we've got our black and red wires, which I already talked about. And then we've got all these jumbled up wires. So first I'm going to talk about these wires. So these are pin wires. On digital pin number 2, we have this green wire. It's a bit of a tangle, but it goes over here into the LCD. Now, pins number 3, 4, and 5, they also go into LCDs. And this is because we need to control the LCD with these pins that we can control in the code. Then pin number 6 is a bit different. Pin number 6 will connect to our tilt switch, so this is our switch pin. Then pins number 11 and 12, the orange wires, they also connect to the LCD, but these serve more of a broader purpose. These are kind of like where the words are being fed into. And then we've also got these wires on the breadboard itself that connect to breadboard locations. So we've got like this green wire right here on the outside. This connects from ground to the LCD. So we've got a lot of wires connecting to the LCD screen to manage the different parts of it. Then we've got this yellow wire kind of in the middle. This connects to 5 volts power, and it also connects to the LCD screen. We have this green wire over here. This connects to ground and to the LCD screen, of course. And then we've got all these wires up here closer to the potentiometer and the tilt switch. So we've got a resistor in the middle to kind of slow down the electrons flow. And of course, next to our potentiometer. Now, there was something wrong with the potentiometer. So when it came, the Arduino booklet that I'm using to build this, the Arduino booklet says that you can fit the potentiometer all on one side of the breadboard, but I had to split it. So I had to add this orange wire over here to connect this one side of the breadboard to the other side so that the potentiometer will actually have effect. This purple wire over here, this connects the potentiometer to the LCD screen. And then the resistor, of course, like I said before, controls the flow of the electrons. You've also got this other green wire, which connects to the LCD at one point, but the other point is also potentiometer. And then you've also got the potentiometer connecting to the yellow wire. The really small yellow wire is where it connects to 5 volts, and the really small orange wire, more lower on the screen from you guys, is going to connect the potentiometer to ground. So it's connected to both 5 volts and ground. Then we've got our little black box, which is the tilt switch. It's also connected to a resistor, and the resistor comes from its own orange wire, which connects to the ground, of course, like I said before. And it's also got its own little yellow wire right next to the ground black wire, and that connects it to 5 volts. Then you've got this large yellow wire, which connects to 6, which I mentioned before. That's to connect the entire circuit to this tilt switch. So now that we've talked about all the wires, we're going to look over the code. So let me bring my computer into screen here. Okay. There. So we're going to start at the very first line. So we use #include liquid crystal. So this is telling the code. This is telling the code that we have a liquid crystal display here. Then you've got liquid crystal LCD. So this is the pins that we're using to control the LCD. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, and 11. Then you've got const int, switch pin equals 6. Now, as I mentioned before, the const int means constant integer. So switch pin is set to 6. So this is the pin that we're using for switch pin. And like I said before, that's going to connect to our tilt switch. Now we have an integer called switch state, which is if the switch is on or off, and that is set to 0 currently. Then we've got another integer, which is prev switch state, and prev means previous, right? So this is the switch state as it originally was, so currently they're equal. And then integer reply, so this is what it's gonna say after we turn on the switch or after we shake our crystal ball. Now we're gonna start with our void setup. This is a setup code to run once. So this is only gonna run once at the start of the code. So we start with LCD begin. So this is gonna turn on the LCD. This is gonna give the code its settings. So 16 by 2, that is the configuration of our LCD right now. Then pin mode, switch pin input. So pin mode is kind of like the mode the pin is, or which pin is controlling the LCD. So that's switch pin, right? Because that's controlling whether the LCD is providing that reply or not. And then switch pin is our input. Okay, and if switch pin is on, then we will provide that electricity to the LCD screen, and if it's off, we will not. LCD.print ask the. So this is what the LCD is going to say once at the very start of the code, and it's going to say ask the, and then we're going to set the cursor to 0, 1. So this is just for formatting. You could put ask the crystal ball, but I think we just didn't want to. Right, so we just put it one below, and then we said LCD.print crystal ball. So it says ask the, and then on the second line it says crystal ball, which you'll see in a second. Then void loop, this is gonna run continuously, the entire code. So switch state equals digital read switch pin. So this is saying is switch pin on or is switch pin off? Then switch state is gonna be based on that. So is switch state gonna be on or off based on switch pin? Now we have an if statement. So if switch state is not equal to, the exclamation in front of the equal sign means not equal to, previous switch state. So switch state is not equal to previous switch state. Then you have a nested if statement. So switch state is equal to equal low. Okay. So now our reply is random out of 8. So now we're going to create these 8 cases. So now we're going to clear the liquid crystal display, and we're going to set the cursor to 0, 0. Then we're going to print the ball says, so we have like kind of this intro thing. And then LCD set cursor 0, 1, and now we're going to start with our reply. So our reply, case 0, because computers always start counting from 0. They don't count like us. They don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But now, as you see on my fingers, that's 9, right? Because you have the extra 0 at the very start, right? So out of the 8, we have 8 random cases, right? And you can see it ends at 7 right here. It ends at case 7 because if you have 7 cases on a computer, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which on our hands is actually 8 cases, which we don't notice before. So our first case is going to say LCD.print yes. Okay, and we're just going to keep going that most likely, certainly, outlook good, unsure, ask again, and doubtful, and then no, of course. And we're just going to keep repeating that code, and then reply already knows we're going to choose a random out of those 8, right? So it's going to run reply. Then we close it, and we set preview switch state to equal to switch state, like we did in the very start, where 0 equals 0. And that is the code. So now we're going to try running this. So we're going to attach our adapter to the computer where our code is stored. And as you might see, this actually turned a lighter blue. So let me unplug it and replug it again to show you that change. Here, so it's dark blue and then light blue. So that's how you know the power is getting to it. Now we can change the contrast. So now you see ask the crystal ball. And then when we shake it, the ball says no. Okay, that's because we shook it, and then it chose a random out of the 8 cases that we said. So this is how my crystal ball circuit works from Arduino. You can find this project on the Arduino booklet in the starter kit. And I hope you read some of the blogs that I've posted. And thank you for watching.